All right, so now I'm going through this as a third grader, 9, 10 years old, little girl, living in a house with basically two bullies, knowing and feeling unwanted by my stepmother, because at this point you don't have any children and I'm the only child at this point that I know of. Not knowing that this woman knows of two other children that I have no idea about. So while you're carrying on this energy, I'm not understanding why things would be so excessive with me. When I tell y'all, I ran away in the 5th grade. Why is a 5th grader running away from home? The word of God was used to say that it brought me back home. No. As a 5th grader, how far can I go in SWAT? A-Leaf, for y'all that don't know. How far can a 5th grader go who's been isolated and put? No, God didn't bring me back. Common sense brought me back to the house. Common sense of, yeah, you done left this house, but where you really about to go? You don't have nobody around you. And the crazy part about all this is, for years, I blamed myself, y'all. Blamed myself to the point where, with everything that I went through, at my paternal grandmother's funeral, I went up to my stepmother. Mind you, I'm not even sure what year. It had been at least a decade, I think. No, I have to think about when my paternal grandmother passed. But it had been years since I had spoken to my father or my stepmother. And I blame myself for the way that things happened with my stepmother and I. I was trying to show her grace and thinking about what was going on. Like, why was I acting this way? Like, I was putting it all on me. And it was so crazy because when I think about it, so many things had been warped in my mind from conversations and people telling me their perspective and basically taking my experience away from me. And this is why I'm so grateful that I do have children, because I'm sitting back and I'm looking at mine, right? And I'm like, my babies are only nasty to the people who are nasty with them. Hold on a second. What? And it made me go back and think about what was said to me. What was the issue? What was going on with me? Because I literally blamed myself. So many people blame themselves for why other people do things to them. And it's not okay. That was not my stuff to deal with. It was not my fault. That now, mind y'all, let me put y'all into the mindset. I was born in 1985. To my knowledge, my mother and my stepfather have been together since 86 or 87. Okay? I have two little sisters that I didn't know about. I didn't know about one for sure. My mother told me about one when I was like 11. And it was told to me by my parents, my stepmother and my father, when I was 14. And then I found out about the next one when I was 19. And come to find out, I think she's like 3 years younger than me, and the other one's like 5 years younger than me, something like that. But it was during the time that they were together. So a lot of the things that were happening to me were in retaliation to this man that you chose to stay with. And that is not okay. And for me to have these realizations, like, hold on, it wasn't me. I wasn't a horrible child. Like, people who I've talked to in the past and told about my history with my parents and things like that, I would take the blame for what was done to me between me and my stepmom. I would take that blame, but I would still say it was still excessive. What was done to me was still not okay in that sense. But as an adult and looking through adult eyes, you were taking out what you should have taken out on him. You were taking that out on me. And that's messed up. All right, so now third to about sixth, seventh grade, I'm learning how to do the chores, blah, blah, blah. Same things that probably a lot of people had to do. And this is when the religious stuff starts happening, because my stepmother converted from being a Baptist to Catholicism. I was raised as a Catholic when I came out to Houston. Okay. When they start building this house, my father decides he wants to start going to the Helicopter Preachers Church. And my stepmother, of course, understandably so, was not going for it. So she and I would go to the Catholic church together. He would go to the non-denominational church. I would go every once in a while, I think on Wednesdays, whatever, things like that. So as they were building this house, my stepmother would drop me off at school and my father would pick me up because they didn't want me to have to go to a different school in the middle of the school year. I guess when the house was going to be finished, it was going to be done in the middle of the school year and they didn't want me to have to move. Okay. So one day he goes to he picks me up and we go drive over to the house. And I'm thinking he's just checking on the house, and he ends up going to get a board off of one of the pallets. They had just laid the grass, so they still had some of the pallets there. He breaks a board off of that. As we're driving home, I want to say it maybe takes 30-45 minutes to get from Sugarland to the SWAT. And he's talking to me and telling me I'm going to get baptized at this church. Excuse me? I have my own convictions. I've been to these courses. I learned these prayers. I believe in God this way. And you're going to tell me that I am going to get baptized in a church that I barely even go to? I got to go in front of these people and get baptized? No, I don't want to do that. No. We get back to our home, and he says, so you don't want to get baptized at this church? No, I don't. So he has me stand in front of the couch facing the wall, and he commences to give me 3 pops with this board. This is a different kind of pain. I'm the type of child who does not want to give anybody the satisfaction. I was stubborn as I don't know what. So I wouldn't cry when I would get whooping. So this was one of the 2 times I ever cried when this man is hitting me with this board. And he did that from 7th to 11th grade, right? So he's like, you don't want to get baptized? No. Pops me some more. Y'all, I'm so convicted. And I'm like, they nailed Jesus to the cross. And I believe in Jesus this way. I don't want to get back. I already been baptized in the Methodist church with my grandmother. And then I've gone through all these catechism courses with my stepmom and my paternal grandmother. Like, what? So finally I ended up giving in because he wasn't going to give up either. You know what I'm saying? And I go get baptized that night. For my parents to be my first bullies and for them to do it in the name of God has caused me to have such a difficult relationship with church. And I'm so happy that I'm getting these things out and I'm actually talking these things out, because I realize so many people that went to that particular church were not raised like me. Because I miss the community of church. I've been so withdrawn when it comes to that part of my life. And I'm ready to get that back, if I'm being honest.